Is your throat good now? Can you sing the Damodarashtakam? Can't? Okay. Page 272. Today you're not going to sing. Okay. Little horse. Namamishwaram Sachidanandarupam Lasat Kundalam Kule Prajamanam Namamishwaram Sachidanandarupam Lasat Kundalam Kule Mojo Vadhamo Jaivayata Ayamotito Bhakti Lalita Asa Prema Bhakti Samitayata Amoshika Home Sita Namaste Pudam Me Purate Pedam Me Sariyodharayata Vipashatam Namo Radhikaya Chaitya Priyaya Namo Radhikaya Chaitya Priyaya Namo Radhikaya Chaitya Priyaya Namo Radhikaya Namo Lilaya Devaya Nama Vishwaram Satiranantarupa Dashatungalam Gokule Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Damodara Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Radha Damodara Damodara Radha Jayanitai Prabhu, which song do you know better?
I have to go and drive someone too.
Okay. Okay. So, Ashapurna, Radhe Jaya Jaya. Do you know that one? Well? Not so well. Okay. Maharaj, can you sing Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daita? Shri Radhika Stava. Sudha Hideva Bhavantam Bande. Giridhari Ju ki jai. Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sindar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakha Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakha Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Avirbhav Mahahotsav Titi ki jai. Divine appearance of Srila Bhakti Rakha Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj. Still continuing this festival. Yesterday was the divine appearance, the Vyasa Puja of Srila Bhakti Rakha Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj, and also the appearance of Bira Chandra Prabhu. So we're still celebrating. But it's Thursday, and we also have Srila Bhakti Sevan Rishikesh Maharaj here with us. Ki Jai. He's just arrived from India with Srila Avadut Maharaj, and they came yesterday just in time for our festival. He's very tired. We're going to excuse him, let him go rest, because he's been on pilgrimage all over India and flew all night the night before last and arrived just in time for our festival. So we will not put him through my class. And Maharaj, you're free to rest, okay? And so we continue our celebrations. We'll just sing the Arati Stuti of Srila Bhakti Rakha Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj, written by our Gurudev Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj. Jaya Guru Maharaj Yati Rajeshara. Jaya Guru Maharaj Yati Rajeshara. Shri Bhakti Rakha Deva Goswami Sridhar. Shri Bhakti Rakha Bhatita Pavana Lila Vishtari Bhuvane. Nishtaila Dina Hina Pamarajane. Tomara Karuna Gana Murati Heriya. Preme Bhagyavana Jiva Kare Murachiya. Sudirgha Supivya Deha Divya Bhavasha. Divya Gyan Vista Nitra Divya Jyotirma. Subhana Suraja Kanti Aruna Bhashana. Tilaka Tulasi Mala Chandana Bhushana. Apurva Shriyanga Shobha Kori Jalamala. Ota Jannata Bhava Madhu Charu Jala. Achintya Pratibhashnika Kampira Uttara. Jada Jnana Giri Vagra Divya Dikshadara. Gora Sankirtana Saraswati Kuta Siddhante Rakani Abhishya Gayati Rata Chintamani Ekatata Vanahite Nityanava Bhava Sushangati Samanjasya Isava Prabhava Taumarasati Tavagrashate Kamate Rupa Saraswati Saradesena Tumate Tulasi Malika Haste Shinama Grahana Deki Sakalera Hari Prabhu Divana Koti Chandra Shishikala Para Parasha Gandhava Govinda Lila Mitala Pasha Abhishincha Veda Siddhanta Prakasha Anande Arati Suti Kore Dinadasha Jaya Guru Maharaj Jaya Guru Maharaj Guru Maharaj Jaya Guru Jaya Nitai Jaya Nitai Jaya Nitai All glory to you, Guru Maharaj, of Sannyasi kings, the Emperor, the glorious Srila Bhakti Lalita Devi Goswami. Extending in this world your pastimes as savior of the fallen, you delivered all the suffering souls, including the most forsaken. Beholding your holy form of concentrated mercy, the fortunate souls fall in a swoon of divine love's ecstasy. Your lofty form, full of divine emotion, is nectar for our eyes. With divine knowledge and shining eyes, your effulgence fills the skies. A golden sun resplendent, in robes of saffron dressed, adorned with tilak, tulsi beads, and with sandal fragrance blessed. The matchless beauty of your holy form, dazzling in its brightness, your benevolence of most noble heart, in the moon glow of love's sweetness. Inconceivable genius, affection, gravity, magnanimity, a thunderbolt crushing mundane knowledge, the reservoir bestowing divinity. In the Golden Lord's Sankirtan dance, you reveal ecstatically, Dayal Nitai, Dayal Nitai. You ever call so lovingly. Eternally present in Navadip Dham with your associates, by your sweet will, you enjoy your holy pastimes on hidden Govardhan Hill. You're the fit recipient of your dignity in the Gaudiya Acharya Assembly, the jewel of the Gaudiya Siddhanta adorning your chest so nobly. You're the living message of Sri Gaura. You're the mine of perfect conclusions. You revealed the Gayatri's inner purport, the gem fulfilling all aspirations. When you speak, one subject alone is revealed in ever new light. Proper adjustment and harmony, all these are your spiritual might. All of your dear godbrothers declare unanimously, they see within your holiness the line of Rupa Saraswati, Seeing you take the holy name with tulsi beads in hand awakens the thought of Saraswati Thakur in everybody's mind. Your feet cooling like 10 million moons, in the service all faith do I place. The nectar of Radha Govinda's pastimes, one day we may drink by your grace. O personification of perfect conclusions, inconceivably one yet different, I sing this prayer at your arati with joy, your humble servant. So this is a beautiful song about Srila Sridhar Maharaj, composed by our Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj. And every day this is sung in Navadvip Dham 3 times a day at the Samadhi Mandir of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and sung all over the world in temples and ashrams of the Chaitanya Saraswat Mat. And it encapsulates Srila Sridhar Maharaj's glories, pastimes, Nam, Rup, Guna, Leela. Gurudev said, in any composition, these 4 things will, if they are present, then it is complete. Nam, name, the name of whoever you're glorifying. Rupa, the form description, describing their form, their divine form. Guna, qualities. And Leela, pastimes. These 4 things will substantially encapsulate who you're glorifying. So our Gurudev has very expertly condensed and encapsulated his Guru Maharaj, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, in this beautiful song. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj appeared on also the day of Bira Chandra Prabhu. Srila Sridhar Maharaj's appearance was yesterday, which is also the day Lord Nityananda Prabhu and Janava Vasudha actually is the biological mother of Birachandra. So yesterday was the appearance day of Birachandra Prabhu as well. And Gurudev Srila Govinda Maharaj explained, we don't have so much information about Birachandra Prabhu, but he said that Birachandra Prabhu was even more merciful than Nityananda Prabhu, if anyone can imagine such a thing. Nityananda Prabhu is famous for being extremely merciful and throwing himself at everybody's feet, going door to door, begging everyone to chant the names of Gauranga and serve the names of Gauranga, and giving divine mercy to everyone randomly. But his son, Birachandra, was more merciful. And Gurudev said, so merciful that chaos was ensued. After Nityananda's son, Birachandra's pastimes, he converted multitudes of Mayavadis, just bringing everybody indiscriminately to the feet of Nityananda Prabhu and Mahaprabhu, and to his second mother, Janava Devi. Jai Guru Gauranga Radha Govinda. And so Gurudev said, after such an inundation from Nityananda Prabhu, then Birachandra Prabhu, some course correction had to take place to kind of bring things back into some normalcy after such inconceivable mercy being randomly distributed by Birachandra Prabhu. And our Gurudev's family line is his father whose name was Nitai Pada Das Adhikari, Srila Govinda Maharaj's father. He was the acharya in the, not Bamsha, but Parivar, spiritual succession of Birachandra Prabhu. Nityananda, Janava, Birachandra, in this line. And that line kind of went off in a different direction than our Rupanuga line. And but it is said in our Gurudev's family that their family deities, Radha Gopinath, were installed by Birachandra Prabhu, and that Birachandra Prabhu changed their surname to Das Adhikari from Chatterjee. Chatterjee is the anglicized version of, is like the short version of like Chattopadhyay. It's a Brahmin name of Gurudev's family. But Birachandra adjusted that name, changed the name to Das Adhikari. So Gurudev's father was Nitai Pada Das Adhikari. And their family deities were installed in the time of Birachandra Prabhu, and it is believed they were installed by Birachandra Prabhu. They date back to that time, and that family is in that lineage, in the spiritual lineage, not bodily. So some connections are there, but what's significant is Srila Sridhar Maharaj's appearance. He was born, his mother was wearing Ram Kavach because they lost their first child. Srila Sridhar Maharaj's mother and father had a baby girl, and she passed away shortly after birth. So they were very concerned and worried, and they worshipped Lord Ram for protection, and they gave Srila Sridhar Maharaj's mother a kavach, which is like a protective amulet on the arm that had some mantra, some connection to Lord Ram to protect her in her childbirth and to protect the child. And also the family were protecting the maternity area and chanting Ram's name when Srila Sridhar Maharaj was born. So Gurudev in one context said, Srila Sridhar Maharaj appeared with the blessings, backing, protection of Lord Ram. So he said, even more dharmic than Ram was Srila Sridhar Maharaj in one context, Lord Ramachandra, and more merciful than Birachandra. So these two shows there's some parallel in the appearance pastimes of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, appearing on Birachandra's appearance day, and with the protection and blessings of Lord Ram. So and also in the horoscope of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, so much connection to Lord Ram of the Ramayana. So we saw in the character of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he was very renounced and highly qualified and respected by all of his god brothers during the pastimes of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. And after the disappearance of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, everyone knew that Saraswati Thakur, Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, passed everything to Srila Sridhar Maharaj in his disappearance bed. He called Srila Sridhar Maharaj to his bedside, asked him to sing Sri Rupa Manjari Pada, and Srila Sridhar Maharaj hesitated, tried to get someone else to sing, but Saraswati Thakur, in those moments before leaving, he said, "No, I want to hear from you." So Srila Sridhar Maharaj sang this famous song. It's like our national anthem, and it's so high that we revere this song so much that we're shy to sing it. By Narottam Das Thakur, the glories of Rupa Manjari. That Srila Sridhar Maharaj sang on insistence of Bhagavan Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And during that song, sung by Srila Sridhar Maharaj, a mystic transmission took place where the current of Sri Rupa was passed to Srila Bhakti Lalita Devi Goswami Maharaj, the guardian of devotion, the Rupa Nugadhara. So all the God brothers knew that he holds the supreme position. They all regarded him. They all had, just like we see in our mission now, so much division that took place during the Gaudiya Math. And so many of the senior God brothers of Srila Sridhar Maharaj had their own missions, but they all knew his superior position. And one term was mentioned by one of the God brothers of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, Simha Vilokana. Like the lion, Simha, Vilokana, eyes, looking. Like the lion goes out for hunting and with the pack, looking back to see how far he's gone from his original site where his pack is established. So in the same way, the God brothers of Srila Sridhar Maharaj went on with their preaching work, with their services, with running their missions, but always looking back to Srila Sridhar Maharaj for approval. Are you happy with us? Are we going on in the right way? Anything needs correction, adjustment? They looked to him for approval. So Jajavar Maharaj would always say, like, we all know he's the one. And he would come and stay and he'd say, in the association of my God brother, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, I'm getting my Guru Maharaj's association. There's the non-different flow. That spiritual current is flowing through him, and I'm getting my Guru Maharaj's association through him. So many beautiful books and compositions were composed by Srila Bhakti Rakshidhar Dev Goswami Maharaj. Of all of them, Shri Shri Prapana Jivanamritam is the best. Our Srila Gurudev said, if everything was lost and this book remained, nothing would be lost. And it's the very first and the very last of our lesson and our teachings. We start with this, we end with this. And everything is here. If we meticulously study the verses, especially what is so important is Srila Sridhar Maharaj's foreword. He explains the nature of this book, why he wrote it, how he wrote it, and so much philosophy and ontology behind his composition. So this is our life. It's called Life Nectar for the Surrendered Souls, Positive and Progressive Immortality. So every day we try to read some verses from this book and get everything from this book in the association of the sadhus, the Vaishnavas, the devotees. So many concepts of Srila Sridhar Maharaj are very famous. Goswami Maharaj likes to say Srila Sridhar Maharaj is known for his use of analogies. He uses a lot of analogies to to explain concepts and help us understand some of these ideals and teachings in our line. He liked to quote, understanding that he said, we are all part and parcel. We are all parts of the infinite organic whole, and it's our duty to serve for the good of the whole. That our innate natures, we are part and parcel of the Lord. He uses the term organic whole to describe Krishna, the Supreme Center, the Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha, Anadi Radhir Govinda Sarva Karna Karnam, the cause of all causes, the one who holds the supreme position, the primeval Lord, one without a second, that Lord, Krishna. We are part of Krishna. We are finite parts of the infinite organic whole, and we will find our innate duty and our constitutional nature complete in serving that infinite organic whole. And that's where all our fulfillment will come from. It's where everything will be set right and adjusted and properly found. All the objects of our senses will be satisfied. All the hankerings for pleasure and beauty and charm and sweetness and affection and love will be found there, not in anything material. So finding our innate fulfillment in the infinite organic whole. So Srila Sridhar Maharaj, to explain that concept, says, quoting Bhagavatam, by pouring water on the root of the tree, the whole tree is fed. By putting food in the mouth, which goes to the stomach, all the body is nourished and fed. Serving the center, the Lord, center with a capital C, that's Krishna. Srila Sridhar Maharaj sometimes calls him the center. Central to everything is Krishna. That by serving the center, everything is served. By serving the purpose of the infinite, everything is served. So, such amazing concepts. By attuning to the conductor, beautiful sound will be made. He said in an orchestra, talking about absolute harmony, in an orchestra so many instruments are there and brought into tune and harmony through the conductor, making beautiful music. All sounds from different stratas, different instruments, from different personalities, they're all brought together into one point to make beautiful music. So, absolute harmony was a very famous theme of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. That, by toleration, harmony will increase. There's so much difference, but if we can tolerate the difference and mark the bright side of everyone and everything, then we will be situated in a positive and progressive mentality and able to achieve harmony. That there's room for everybody and everything. Everyone has their place and their contribution to make, and if they can all be accommodated, then harmony will be achieved. So, these are things Srila Sridhar Maharaj talks about, and you'll find them in his books, There are numerous books. We have so many: Subjective Evolution of Consciousness, Search for Sri Krishna, Loving Search for the Lost Servant, Golden Volcano, Sri Guru in His Grace, Guardian of Devotion. Gurudev considered these books as deities, personified deities. And when we thank Goswami Maharaj and his Guardian of Devotion Press, the devotees who assisted in bringing these books into print and seeing the light of day. When Goswami Maharaj offered all these books, during the time of the third offering, I believe it was maybe Loving Search for the Lost Servant, Goswami Maharaj was starting a temple in San Jose, California, and was preparing to bring deities there for installation. And he asked Gurudev, what kind of Mahaprabhu should we commission to the Murtiwala, the artist who makes the deity? And Gurudev showed him this Mahaprabhu. Can you show this Mahaprabhu on our altar? This Gauranga Sundar. This Mahaprabhu was shown to Goswami Maharaj. Mahaprabhu should look like this. And Goswami Maharaj saw him. He was hiding behind the Mahaprabhu on the main altar in Navadvip, Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat, and he was commissioned by Gurudev for Hapanya Temple. And that's the birthplace of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, Hapanya Dham. So he was made for Hapanya, but Gurudev showed this Mahaprabhu, this very same one, to Goswami Maharaj. He should look like this. Then Goswami Maharaj said, oh, maybe he would like to come to San Jose. And Gurudev, in his Bengali, which is like equivalent to, oh my God, he said, Ore Baba. Oh, Father. Like, oh my God, Father. Srila Gurudev never took anything as coincidence, or heard anything, or saw anything, or comprehended anything in any casual way. He saw that the will of the Lord is everywhere and in everything. And the Lord has allowed this idea to come. And Gurudev didn't dismiss it and took it very seriously and went to Srila Sridhar Maharaj asking, Goswami Maharaj wants to take Mahaprabhu, Hapanya Mahaprabhu, to San Jose. And first Srila Sridhar Maharaj wasn't so sure and didn't exactly agree immediately. Then Gurudev said, he's given us 3 deities. That time was 3, then it became 5. He gave us 3 deities, we can give him 1. And then Srila Sridhar Maharaj agreed and allowed this Mahaprabhu with Radha Govinda to go to San Jose. So Divya Shakti was there during that time. She saw those deities in San Jose. They're very famous. They've traveled all over the world, and they decided to come here and live here. So all the grace of Srila Sridhar Maharaj and Srila Gurudev. Without our Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj, we would not have access to Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj. There's no end to his glories. One little class cannot do justice. I'm at a loss for words, actually. But I always say I'm a proud grandchild of Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj. And I can never stop hearing about him and hearing his concepts. And that's enough for one life, just to study his books, to hear about his pastimes, to appreciate his compositions, his contribution to the world, which is so unique and so specialized. Our Gurudev would say anyone in the line of Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj, as I mentioned yesterday, they will go, the destination is Radha Dasyam, the service of Srimati Radharani, the service of Srimati Radharani, under guidance of Lalita Devi, who is our chief, our boss in the service of Radharani, and under Lalita Devi is Rupa Manjari. So you see this Rupa connection through Srila Sridhar Maharaj. Shri Rupa Manjari Pada. That transferred to Srila Sridhar Maharaj, and that is where our destination, where we are going, is in that line. The service, the Manjaris are the younger gopi section in the service of Radharani, and that's where our gurus are situated. Gurudev, Srila Param Guru Maharaj, Srila Saraswati Thakur, Srila Gaurkishore Das Babaji, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. They're all there in that service plane, eternally existing in divine Leela, divine pastimes. And that's where our line is taking us. Service of Radharani under Lalita, who Rupa is working under, serving under Lalita Devi. She's older, she's boss, chief, and we are all situated there in our ultimate destination. We are a little far from that. We are still in the mundane world, suffering according to our karma, but we're enduring our karma and learning to serve and worshiping our guardians and going on with faith and conviction, enduring the inauspicious reactions of our previous actions. We pray, bring it all on, let's get this over with. Let's suffer our do what reactions are due to us, due to our misfortune, our previous actions. We are happy to be responsible and liable for all we've done, and we face it with courage, and we go on with this divine prospect. We're pursuing this divine path of Srila Sridhar Maharaj and Srila Gurudev. We are the grandchildren and great-grandchildren of Srila Sridhar Maharaj. So it is said in Bengal that the grandfather is more merciful than the father. Gurudev told us this. So he'd say, Guru Maharaj is smiling upon all of you and not judging, not seeing our shortcomings, but just blessing us and helping us on our way in our pursuance of this very dignified, eternal service plane, service group of Radharani under guidance of Lalita and Shri Rupa Manjari. So I will stop here. Much more could be said. There is so much content on scsmat.com, so many lectures of Srila Gurudev and lectures of Srila Sridhar Maharaj, so much digital media, printed books, compositions, songs, more than enough to inundate everybody with this specialized, exclusive, divine devotion. So, such a high thing, and maybe we are not eligible for it, but it's coming to us on a golden plate by causeless kripa, mercy. So, Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Sindar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Anuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Om Varena Shalesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Birachandra Prabhu ki jai. Jai Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat ki jai. Shri Bhakti Siddhar Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Shri Bhakti Bimal Avadut Maharaj ki jai. Shri Bhakti Sevan Rishikesh Maharaj ki jai. Shri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Acharya Vrinda ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Shri Gupta Govardhan ki jai. All the assembled devotees ki jai. Divya Shakti Didi ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Gaur Premanande. Jai Gurudev. And any volunteers for Hari Harai Namakrishna? Hari Harai Namakrishna.
Jai. Om Vishnupad Shiva Bhakti Bimala Vadut Maharaj ki
Jai.
Jai Om Vishnupad Shiva Bhakti Sukhdev Goswami Maharaj ki
Jai.
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajika Charyavarya Shri Shri Srimad Bhakti Sundar Govind Dev Goswami Maharaj ki
Jai.
Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajika Charyavarya Shri Srimad Bhakti Lalita Devi Goswami Maharaj ki
Jai.
Bhagavan Shiva Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Jai Om Vishnupad Shiva Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai Om Vishnupad Shiva Satchitananda Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Shiva Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai Shri Rupanand Guru Varga ki Jai Namacharya Shiva Haridas Thakur ki Jai Namkoti Vaishnava ki Jai Shri Baladev Vidya Krishna ki Jai Shri Vishwanath Chakravati Thakur ki Jai Shri Narottam Shivananda Srinivas Charika ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Das Thakur ki Jai Shri Krishnadas ki Radha ki Jai Sad Goswami Vrindavan ki Jai Sadasana Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki Jai Shri Madhva Prabhu ki Jai Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana ki Jai Shudka Bhakti Vidyanasha Shri Simhadev ki Jai Bhakta Parvara Prabhupada Maharaj ki Jai Tulsi Maharani ki Jai Ramji Yamuna ji ki Jai Grantarat Srimad Bhagavatam читание Чайтанья ki Jai Navaratna Sastha ki Jai Читание Saraswati Mat ki Jai Shridham Maipur ki Jai Shridham Navadip ki Jai Vrindavan Dham ki Jai Purushottam Dham ki Jai Bhaladeva Subhadra Jagannath ki Jai Smaita Vaishnava Mandala ki Jai Smaita Bhakta Vrinda ki Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtana ki Jai Jai Vishnupad Shiva Bhakti Radhama Krishna Maharaj ki Jai Jai Vishnupad Shiva Bhakti Nirmala Charya Maharaj ki Jai Читание Saraswati Madhacharya Vrinda ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Vishwarena Shiva Cheva Siddhanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai Guru Parampara ki Jai Всем преданным ki Jai Шримати Бхакти Lalita Devi ki Jai Диви Шакти Диви ki Jai Jai Витай Гору Прабхананде
Bhakti Sevan Rishikesh Maharaj ki Jai. Go Premanande. I'm just too much humble. Sitting through my whole class. I tried to excuse him. He's very tired. Very sweet and humble. We have a real sadhu amongst us.
More than one.